Good morning and welcome to the Committee on Ways and Means. Committee Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Anderson. Assemblywoman Backus. Assemblywoman Brown May. Assemblywoman Dickman. Assemblywoman Gorlow. Assemblyman Hafen. Assemblywoman Howdicky. Assemblywoman Kasama. Assemblyman Miller. Assemblyman O'Neill. Assemblywoman Peters. Assemblyman Watts. Assemblyman Yeager. Chair Monroe Moreno.
And I am here. We have all members present. I'll remind everyone in the audience and members to turn off and/or mute your electronic devices so they're not disruptive during the presentations today. And we will have public comment at the end of today's meeting. If you'd like to call in to give public comment, the number is 888-475-4499. Our meeting ID is 859-7077-7336, and then please press pound. Each speaker during public comment will have 2 minutes to speak. I remind you to state and spell your name for the record. Members will be using their laptops to follow along with exhibits and information on their computers. Please do not take that as a sign of disrespect, but they are working. We will be taking some things out of order today. That's just the nature of being at the end of the legislative session. And depending on how time goes, we may have to roll some things. So we may be just recessing and come back at some other time later today at the call of the chair. It's the life that we have the last few days of session. So with that, we will get started with our agenda. We'll start with Assembly Bill 41, which establishes the Nevada Innovation Account, and invite the presenters to the table. Good morning.
Good morning, members of the committee, Chairwoman Monroe Moreno. My name is Carsten Heise for the record. I'm with GOED. I will keep that brief. I was just told just to concentrate on the fiscal aspects here. AB 41, just a little bit of background, is to strengthen the formation and growth of technology-based small businesses, especially startups, especially i.e. those businesses that have been formed recently or have been in formation only for a short period of time. In other words, these are very highly scalable companies, and these will be the beneficiaries of this bill. So highly scalable small businesses, that is the target that we are trying to support here with AB 41. Because of the stage these businesses are in, they have very limited resources. They're crucially dependent on their environment. Think of it like small business that's just been formed has probably not a good access to attorneys, not good access to capital, needs some support with technologies. That's what we are trying to do here. We are trying to strengthen the environment with this bill. That is addressing the weaknesses in the support structures that are currently prevalent. So again, we are targeting gaps in those structures and align those also better. Targeting those gaps with other states. We are, I have to admit, lagging behind, and this bill enables us to at least catch up a little bit. For the purpose of this committee, let me really stress that it does not contain a fiscal note. So the intent really is here that we will be creating a framework and a mechanism. So we would be able to participate in a more targeted fashion in increasing federal funding opportunities that are currently being made available. 2 examples, the National Science Foundation regional innovation engines under the CHIPS Act, or most recently the EDA tech hubs. So again, no fiscal note. If you would like me to take you through the bill, I can do that, but I will stop right here for questions.
Thank you so much. And no, there's no need to take us through the bill, being that this is a fiscal, not a policy committee. And the reason that we brought the bill into the fiscal committee is because we had the bill, but it didn't show an appropriation. I appreciate receiving the email that stated that there would not be asking for money. I appreciate that. And as I did look at the bill, it will allow for gifts, grants, donations, and other sources of funds. But by establishing this fund, will be available to also go after federal dollars to help sustain it. Thanks. During your presentation, you said it's for new businesses, new startups, but some businesses that have already been in place. And how long? Is that a year? They've been established for 3 years? What are you targeting?
Thank you for the question, Carsten Heiser, for the record. Yeah, predominantly these are startups and early stage formation companies. I wouldn't so much put it on a time frame, more the way how they're developed and what need they are, technologically how they develop. Some businesses scale very quickly. Some take a longer period of time. What we use as benchmark, and generally it is a technology readiness level. So it's not so much the timeline, but there are aspects of this bill, programs within that bill, where businesses that have been in operation for a longer period of time would be beneficiaries. Like, for example, there's a component in that bill that strengthens the internship and talent retention program that this committee last year in October approved with the Attorney General's funds. And under that aspect, other companies that have been in operation for longer would benefit as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Members, any questions for the presenters? Seeing none. I thank you so much for the presentation, and we'll invite anyone to the table that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 41.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Mindy Elliott with Flint Judici Government Affairs this morning, representing the Northern Nevada Development Authority of Western Nevada, and we're in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Dylan Keith with the Vegas Chamber. This legislation will create opportunities, jobs, and economic development. For that reason, we are in strong support. Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Alejandro Rodriguez, Nevada System of Higher Education, and she's in support of AB 41 and the opportunities it'll provide for our students and institutions. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Michael Flores on behalf of the University of Nevada, Reno. We work closely with GOED on a number of these projects already are in full support. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Ashley Cruz with Carrera Nevada for the record here on behalf of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, and we are in support.
Thank you. Seeing no one else here in Carson City to provide support testimony, is there anyone in Las Vegas that would like to provide support testimony for Assembly Bill 41? Seeing none, BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 41?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 41, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller, you are unmuted and may begin.
Good morning. This is Nathan Coons with Altiquo Ventures. We are a technology developer and software developer. We are highly in support of this bill.
Thank you so much. Next caller.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. This is Jared Byer. I'm the Managing Director of Generators Investment Accelerators. We run early stage accelerator programs for technology companies in both Reno and Las Vegas. We believe that this bill is imperative for us to stay competitive as a state, and we are in full support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, this is Kurt Walker, longtime funder, VC, present here in Vegas. I believe that this bill is absolutely critical for us to conduit more capital and innovation into the small businesses and startups here in Nevada.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, there are no additional callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you so much. So we'll move to opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 41? Seeing none, is there anyone in Las Vegas that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 41? Seeing none, BPS, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 41?
If you would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 41, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. So we will move to the position of neutral. If you're here to provide neutral testimony on AB 41, I invite you to the table. Seeing none, not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines that would like to provide testimony in the neutral position?
If you would like to testify neutral on Assembly Bill 41, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good morning, Chair Monroe and the committee. For the record, my name is Joshua Levitt, JOSHUALEAVITT. I am the founder of a few startups here, as well as a nonprofit called Tech Alley, and I'm actually calling in to support. I think I missed my opportunity to call in at that time, but I'll leverage this opportunity to call in for support of AB 41. Thank you.
Thank you so much. BPS, do we have any other callers? And I will move that last caller to the position of support.
Chair, there are no additional callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll ask the presenters, do you have any closing remarks? Okay, seeing none, we will close the hearing for Assembly Bill 41. Speaker Yeager?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. As you probably recall, Assembly Standing Rule number 57-4 requires 24-hour waiting period before the time we hear a bill and process it out of committee. That rule can be waived with approval of the Speaker. So from here on out in this committee, from now until the end of session, I am giving approval to process bills that we hear in this committee without waiting the requisite 24 hours under Assembly Standing Rule number 57-4.
Thank you so much for that. And with that permission and waiving of the rules, I will open the work session for Assembly Bill 41. And I will accept a motion to do pass.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move to do pass as amended Assembly Bill 41.
I have a motion from Assemblywoman Bacchus, a second from Assemblywoman Hadigi. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes, and I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Brown May. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, it's Assembly Bill 62, which revises provisions governing property tax exemptions for low-income housing. And we'll invite the Majority Leader and her co-presenters to the table. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you. And I will keep the bill presentation to just the fiscal, Madam Chair, but I am here on behalf of Assembly Bill 62 and as chair of the Nevada Advisory Housing Committee. The bill before you revises exemptions for affordable housing, and there is no fiscal impact to the state, but there is a small fiscal impact to Carson City, $4,300 in year 23-24 and $4,600 in 24-25. I did bring some backup with me if you do have questions regarding the property tax exemption qualifications for affordable housing, and I know there are representatives here from Carson City if you have questions regarding the Carson City fiscal impact.
Thank you so much for that nice, short presentation. I do have one question. Do you know what the projected impacts would be to the reduced property tax revenue collections under the provisions in the bill?
I'm going to go to my backup for this one.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Bill Brewer with the Nevada Rural Housing Authority, also a member of the Housing Advisory Committee that Assemblywoman Howdiggy chairs. This should have little or no effect on revenues, taxation revenues to local governments. This only enables the Housing Division to more effectively and efficiently allocate home funds, which right now are used to enact or enable the tax exemption. So by enabling these other sources of funding to enable the tax exemption, we can target the home funds in a more thoughtful and efficient way.
Thank you for that. Members, any other questions? All right, seeing none, I thank you so much for the presentation. I'll ask you to step back and we'll invite anyone to the table that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 62. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Ariel Edwards, Director of Government Relations for Nevada Hand. AB 62 modernizes property tax exemptions for affordable housing. Currently, an affordable housing project must utilize home funds, which results in an inefficient utilization of home and added time and cost for an affordable housing project. The proposed language in AB 62 will add other regulatory funding sources to trigger the property tax exemption for an affordable housing project. It is essential to consider the long-term cost of not having this bill in statute. The development community and affordable housing community has worked really hard on the proposed language to remove as many barriers as possible to the development of affordable housing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nick Ciccone, City of Reno. For the record, I don't think I could have said it better myself, so I'll just say ditto to Ariel Edwards' comments.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. For the record, and members of the committee, Mindy Elliott with Flynn Judici Government Affairs, representing the Reno Housing Authority as well as the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, and this piece of legislation will provide a great tool for us as we continue to expand multifamily throughout the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, chairs and members of the committee. Dylan Keith with the Vegas Chamber. We do believe that this is a responsible way to address the housing crisis in Nevada. I'd like to echo my colleagues and ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Chair Monroe Moreno, members of the Committee on Ways and Means. For the record, Leonardo Benavides, Government Affairs Manager for the City of North Las Vegas. Also want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues in support of AB 62. We think this is great for helping the development of affordable housing in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, members of the committee and Chairwoman Monroe Moreno, Christine Hess, Executive Director for the Nevada Housing Coalition. Just want to express our strong support of Assembly Bill 62, more affordable housing, more quickly, and no extra cost to the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair. For the record, Susan Fisher with McDonald Carano speaking on behalf of Ovation Development in Southern Nevada. Very strong support of AB 62. Thank you.
Thank you. See no one else here in Carson City to provide support. Testimony going to Las Vegas. Is there anyone there in the audience that'd like to provide support testimony for Assembly Bill 62? Not seeing any. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 62?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 62, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good morning. I'm Nicole Rourke, representing the City of Henderson. We're also here in support of AB 62 and echo the comments of my city colleagues about how this bill will affect affordable housing in our jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, there are no additional callers to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to the position of opposition. Is there anyone here to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 62? See none. Not see anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on the phone line that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 62?
If you would like to testify in opposition on Assembly Bill 62, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to the neutral position. If there's anyone here that would like to provide testimony in the neutral position of Assembly Bill 62, I invite you to the table. Not seeing anyone here in Carson City, not seeing anyone come to the table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on the phone line that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 62?
If you would like to testify neutral on Assembly Bill 62, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, having no closing comments from the presenter, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 62, and we will open the work session on Assembly Bill 62.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd move to do pass Assembly Bill 62.
Thank you so much. I have a motion from Assemblywoman Bacchus, a second from Assemblyman Watts. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and we'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Heidegger.
Thank you.
Moving on, the next item on our agenda is Assembly Bill 156, which revises provisions relating to substance use disorders. And we'll invite Assemblyman Orlicker to the table. And members, you have on your desk some information that was provided by the Assemblyman that you can follow along in his very short presentation and as he addresses the fiscal note.
Thank
Good
you,
morning.
Chair. Thank you, members. Assemblyman David Orlicker, District 20 for the record. So, as the Chair indicated, this bill is about promoting access to treatment primarily for substance use disorder, medication, assisted treatment, buprenorphine, et cetera. So there are a number of provisions to do that. There's also a provision to promote access to naloxone to reverse an opioid overdose, which is in Section 1. Now, getting to the fiscal, the original bill called on DOC and local jails to provide medication-assisted treatment to prisoners with substance use disorders. In the last section, 17.5, that's turned into a study. So that, as you'll see, there are a few counties that submitted new fiscal saying that the amendment removed their fiscal concerns. I think, though, there's still a fiscal concern with Section 1, which creates a bulk purchasing account for naloxone and other opioid antagonists to make sure we get them as cheaply as possible in the state. And so, as I say, I think that's where it is. And I'm not an expert in this area, so I'm open to hearing what your questions about that bulk purchasing account or any other questions.
Thank you so much. As you stated, there were originally 19 fiscal notes on the original bill, but it does appear that all of the local county fiscal notes have been addressed. But there still remains the study, which is in Section 17.5 of the bill, that will require NDOC to collaborate with the Department of Health and Human Services to conduct the study. And I don't see if there's any cost associated with that. So if there's anyone in the room from NDOC or DHHS that could speak on the cost of the study, would there be a cost and how that would happen? Okay. Seeing none, then I encourage you to reach out to them before we could take this one to a work session. But members, do you have questions? Well, you might have a phone a friend, Assemblywoman Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I talked to both the Department of Health and Human Services and Department of Corrections about this study and worked with them on ensuring that it would not have a fiscal impact. The Department of Corrections intended to conduct a similar study anyways, and this would formalize it so that we would receive a report at the end to see what resources they would need in the future. If that is incorrect, I will correct myself to you, but with a follow-up to the Department of Corrections. But at the time discussing this bill, that was the intention and the fiscal impact.
Thank you so much for that additional information. Assemblyman Ornlicker, if we could just get something in writing that can go on the file, then we can move this to a work session.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, quick question. I know there's like 20-something fiscal notes here on Nellis now. How much are still remaining, and I just want to know from the fiscal standpoint how much money we're talking about now with all the different agencies and both solicited and unsolicited. How much money is still out there?
David Orentlicker, for the record. I don't know of any actual dollars because there was, as I say, the provisions to require DOC and jails to provide medication-assisted treatment. That was going to create a significant fiscal, and it's because we now just have the study committee, then I don't know of any other fiscal impacts, except concerns about Section 1. Now, this creates a bulk purchasing account for existing funds. It doesn't call for any new funding. It's just for the funds that we're going to dedicate to opioid antagonists. We do it through a bulk purchasing program.
Thank you. So with the fiscal notes that are currently up to date in the file, there are no fiscal notes. We just need updated information from the Department of Corrections of how much, if any, the study would cost. The other fiscal aspects associated with this piece of legislation are already in process, so it's no new fiscal impact to the state. Thank you. And Assemblyman Orlinker, I'm not seeing any other questions from the committee, so I invite you to take a seat back, and we'll invite those to the table that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 156. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Jason Walker, Washington County Sheriff's Office, supporting Assembly Bill 156, and just confirming for the record, originally we did have a fiscal, and because of the amendment, it has been removed.
Thank you so much. Good morning. And before you start, I'm going to have to ask. I'm loving the purple here. It's my favorite color. So you got to share with us why you did. We see you every morning, and today you're wearing my favorite color. So.
Well, you know, there's this holiday called Passover where we ask questions like, why is this night different from other nights? I have two versions. Version one is I wanted to help with the state's budget, so I robbed a bank last night and the dye packet went off, and what the hell? This is the last day I'll be 69. I turn 70 tomorrow. I'm on this side of the hill today. I'm over the hill tomorrow, and I want you to know I can still have a sense of humor at this point in my life. I wanted to say I am an expert finally. Damn, I've been waiting for this moment. I actually have one of those data waivers that allows you to write for buprenorphine. It's called a CSAT waiver. You had to take 8 hours of training back in 2002, 2003. This is very important that we get these medications out there. I've always said that any ethical pain specialist who writes for opioids has to know how to write for opioid antagonists. In effect, if you create a problem, you have to be able to solve it. That's what being a physician is all about. So I'm very supportive of this, and just so you know, there is a layer of complexity with methadone. It's much less with buprenorphine, and then it isn't even a controlled substance to use naltrexone, the opioid reversing agent given on a monthly basis. 5-6 years ago, Department of Corrections was routinely discharging people from prison having received the drug Revia, which is naltrexone, as a monthly injection, which was probably one of the most brilliant things I had heard of in many, many years. I realize everything comes with a fiscal implication. I don't think this is going to be that expensive. The DEA has already dropped the need for doctors, nurse practitioners, all sorts of people to get the specialized Data 2000 treatment. We're no longer required to have CSAT waivers. We don't have to have an alternate DEA number. So the implication is try and get this down to where anybody's practice, from an emergency room to an urgent care to a family practice to a psychiatrist, we can all just prescribe these medications if they're warranted. People will still have to go to methadone clinics if that's what they're going on, but at least in terms of buprenorphine and Revia, there's really no reason for anyone not to be able to prescribe these. And I love the idea pharmacists can even do that. You go grocery shopping, why not get your medication while you're at the grocery store? That's just too convenient. So I encourage your support for this bill, and I hope you enjoyed my purple hair today.
We did, and I did interrupt you as you were getting started, so would you just state your name for the record?
You know, I just can't learn. Barry Cole, Barrycole. Thanks.
You, and happy early birthday in case we don't see you tomorrow. Is there anyone else here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in support? Seeing none, not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 156?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 156, please press star 9 to get placed in the queue.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, Crystal Riccio for the record. I'm professor of pharmacy practice at Roseman University and practice and recovery services here in Southern Nevada. I am speaking on behalf of supporting AB 156 to improve access to care to Nevadans, including our urban, rural, and frontier communities, to be able to access this much needed treatment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hi, my name is Susan Nguyen, last name Nguyen, and I'm representing the Nevada Pharmacy Alliance, and we're just calling in to say that we also support AB 156 and everything that has been said previously, and we hope to be submitting a letter of support here soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Adam Porras, Porath, representing the Nevada Society of Health System Pharmacists. We strongly support this bill in order to improve access to patients. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. My name is Amy Hale, Amyhale, and I'm a pharmacist here in Nevada. I wanted to voice my support of AB 156. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, there are no additional callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. And with that, we'll move to opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 156? Seeing none, not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. Is there anyone on the phone line that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 156?
If you would like to testify in opposition on Assembly Bill 156, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Then we'll move on to neutral. Is there anyone that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 156 here in Carson City? Seeing none, not seeing anyone at our table. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines?
If you would like to testify neutral on Assembly Bill 156, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Do you have any closing remarks Okay, with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 156. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, it's Assembly Bill 383. We'll invite Assemblywoman Torres to the table. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Chair Monroe and committee members. I'm Assemblywoman Selena Torres for the record, and I proudly represent Assembly District 3 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you for the opportunity to present AB 383 in your committee today, which preserves the right to reproductive health care and makes various changes to ensuring working-class Nevadans have more affordable and accessible reproductive health care coverage. Instead of getting into the details of the bill and the policy, I'm going to really focus on the fiscal note today, which applies to Section 8, Sub 7 of the bill. On the fiscal note, we have had several conversations with DHHS, and the amendment submitted will clarify how DHHS will set rates for translation services that will substantially reduce the fiscal note. We want to sincerely thank the department for their collaboration, and there is someone here from the office to answer any questions that pertain to that specific fiscal note. I want to close by highlighting the federal dollars that the state of Nevada is eligible to receive by funding translation services for reproductive health care, because we're missing out on those dollars right now. For Medicaid or CHIP, there is a respective 50% and 75% match by the federal government. This is a match that 15 other states and the District of Columbia already have received, some of them for decades. Unfortunately, the state of Nevada does not yet receive this. My emphasis here is that Nevada is missing out on the federal funding that it receives, and we can leverage resources to improve the quality of care, lower long-term costs, and ultimately ensure every Nevadan is able to access the care that they need. At this time, I'm ready for any questions.
Thank you. You talk so fast. I got to learn how to do that. Members, any questions for the presenter? All right, you did indicate that with the amended language, there could be an adjustment to the fiscal note, and there should be someone here that could address that. And I invite you to join Assemblywoman at the table to address the fiscal note. Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, Lynette Aaron with the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy. With the proposed conceptual amendment, the division can reduce the fiscal impact to $158,377 in total for the biennium. This includes general funds of approximately $38,551 in general funds.
And I am going to ask if you could just send that to me in writing so we have it for the file. That would be great, and then we can work session this bill.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you both. Then we'll move to testimony in support of Assembly Bill 383. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Paige Barnes with the Ferrado Company. Here today on behalf of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, we are here in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex Tanchik with Silver State Government Relations, representing the Nevada Advanced Practice Nurse Association, also here in support. Thank you.
Marco Rauda, MARCO RAUDA. I represent Americans for Contraception, and we are also here in support of AB 383. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 383? Seeing none and not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas, BPS, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 383?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 383, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 383? I invite you to the table. Seeing none, not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone joining us on the phone that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 383?
If you would like to testify in opposition on Assembly Bill 383, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. And then we will move to the neutral position. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 383? Seeing none, still not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone join us on the phone line that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 383?
If you would like to testify neutral on Assembly Bill 383, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to ask the Assemblywoman back to the table. It appears someone does have a question for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You were both a lot faster than I could raise my hand to ask a quick question. Assemblywoman, just a quick question on the local government fiscal notes. I see Carson City was able to remove theirs. Had you had a chance to talk to the others to see if they were removing their fiscal notes as well with the amendment?
We've reached out to local governments, and Assemblyman Torres, for the record, we have reached out to local governments. I don't know that all of them have had the time to submit the removal, but I will note that I don't think it is necessary for us to have the response from local governments in order for us to move this piece of legislation. But it will also make it very clear that the amendment that was made in the committee addressed the issue that local governments had. So the Section 3 that is referred to in local governments was removed. So I will just note that with the reprint of the bill, the concerns of local government is no longer applicable.
And thank you, Assemblywoman Torres, for that clarification on those local government fiscal notes. And I thank you for joining us today. And with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 383. And I look forward to getting those updated notes so we can work session this bill. And with that, we will move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is Assembly Bill 399, which creates the Subcommittee on Education Accountability of the Interim Finance Committee. And we'll invite Speaker Yeager to the table for this presentation. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. It is a pleasure to be here in front of you this morning. My name is Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9 in Southwest Las Vegas, and I'm here to present Assembly Bill 399. This bill was presented in the Legislative Operations and Elections Committee and was heard on the policy, but I think it is important to talk a little bit about the policy because this bill would directly impact the members of this committee who will also be serving on the Interim Finance Committee in the interim. And so many of you, maybe you would have liked to have forgotten, but you probably remember those couple of nights and days where we had the school districts come in and talk to us as a committee and we were able to ask questions. I considered that to be a transparency measure. It's the first time we ever did that as a legislature, actually bringing all 17 school districts and the Charter School Authority in front of us. So what this bill, Assembly Bill 399, seeks to do is to put that into statute so that we'll have an opportunity to converse with all the school districts and the Public Charter School Authority every 6 months or so. Now, in session, that makes sense because we can get together as a joint Interim Finance Committee and a Senate Finance Committee like we did earlier in the session. But that raises a question of how do we accomplish that in the interim? What this bill does is creates a subcommittee on education accountability. That subcommittee has members from both the Assembly and the Senate. They are appointed by the chair of the Interim Finance Committee. The chair also appoints the chair and vice chair of the subcommittee. And the duties listed here is that every 6 months they would have a meeting where they would be able to bring in the school districts to have conversations much along the lines of the conversations we had with the districts, particularly in terms of what their plans were for spending the new revenue that they were getting. And this will give us an opportunity to ask follow-up questions to see if that money was actually spent in the way that was indicated when we talked to them. And if not, it'll allow us to ask why and what changes were made and what the impact of that funding has been. And so that's essentially what the bill does. And just getting to the fiscal part of the bill, there are two fiscal notes. The Legislative Counsel Bureau has indicated that it has no fiscal impact, as no additional Bureau resources would be required, so that simply can be absorbed. We also have a fiscal note from the Department of Education, where they were estimated the need for a half full-time employee. I have had productive conversations with the department, and I think they are here this morning in explaining my vision of the bill to them. I think they have agreed that the intent of the bill would not pull them into the bill. The way I see this bill interacting with the Department of Education would merely be that the Department of Education could provide already existing reports that they have to the committee, but we wouldn't be asking them to do anything new or to come present to the committee. It would simply be a transmittal of some of the great work they're already doing to measure outcomes in public schools. So I think they will indicate today that if indeed that is the intent of the bill, and it is, that they would be able to remove the fiscal note. So I think that's the only two fiscal notes, but happy to answer any questions about either the policy or the fiscal impact.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and that was going to be my question to the Department of Education. So if they'd love to join you here at the table, that would be great. Because I know as we went through the accountability meetings that this committee conducted with the joint full committee, we did not request any information or input or collaboration with the Department of Education. So I was kind of taken aback when I saw the fiscal note. So thank you. If you could just speak to that, that would be great.
Thank you, Chair Monroe Moreno, members of the committee. We did have a wonderful conversation to make sure the intent of the bill was not to ask the Department of Education to produce any new reports and/or analysis, but definitely more than happy to provide support with the reports that we already produce as required.
Thank you so much. So with that, would you be able to get us an updated fiscal note so that we can work session this bill?
Superintendent Ebert, for the record, yes, I'd be more than happy to do so.
Thank you so much. Members, do you have any other questions? All right, seeing none, I thank you so much for the presentation, and I'll invite anyone to the table that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 399. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Monroe Moreno and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, representing the Vegas Chamber, and we are in strong support of this bill and ask your support as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else here in Carson City to provide testimony in support, and not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 399?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 399, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. We will move to opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 399? Seeing none, and still not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines?
If you would like to testify in opposition on Assembly Bill 399, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. Then we will move to the neutral position. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 399? Seeing none, and not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. BPS, I'm assuming we still have no one joining us on the phone line at this time?
If you would like to testify neutral on Assembly Bill 399, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, we're having no closing comments from the presenters. We will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 399. And we will open the hearing on Assembly Bill 403, which revises provisions governing halfway houses for persons recovering from alcohol and other substance use disorders.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Sean O'Donnell. I'm the Executive Director of Foundation for Recovery here in Las Vegas. With me today, I also have Paul Schubert from the Division of Public and Behavioral Health to answer any questions specifically related to the fiscal note. AB 403 offers a change in the licensing and certification requirements for halfway houses in the state of Nevada. Halfway houses are safe, substance-free, and healthy residential environments where people recovering from substance use disorder are provided peer support, education, and learned skills vital for sustaining recovery in a home-like setting based on various social model principles. Currently in the state of Nevada, there are only 8 licensed halfway houses. And what AB 403 does is it removes the existing licensure requirement while upholding the existing certification requirement that exists in our state. 403 also revises the terminology or the name of what we are referring to these facilities as from halfway houses to recovery homes or recovery residencies, which is more aligned with national best practices. The fiscal impact is an annual reduction of $46,160 in licensing fees that are currently being collected by HCQC and DPBH. And with that, I am available for questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. As I see from the fiscal note, there is a negative impact in both FY24 and FY25 for the Division of Public and Behavioral Health. And if there's someone here from that division that could speak to. Good morning.
That would be me, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Paul Schubert, Chief of the Bureau of Healthcare Quality and Compliance in the Division of Public and Behavioral Health. Yes, the negative fiscal note is in reference to the reduction in, the loss in fee revenues that we would be receiving from those 8 currently licensed halfway houses. And over the biennium, it would be $92,320. It was determined that this decrease in fee revenue will not have an impact on the ability of our agency to accomplish its overall mission.
Thank you. And with that loss of revenue, would that have a significant impact on your division, or is that something that you can absorb?
It is something, again, for the record, Paul Schubert, it is something that we have determined we can absorb.
Thank you so much for that. Members, any questions to the presenter? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will move to testimony in support of Assembly Bill 403. If there's anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 403, I invite you to the table. Not seeing anyone, and not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 403?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 403, please press star 9 now to take your place in the Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. We will move to opposition. If there's anyone here in Carson City that would like to testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 403, I invite you to the table. Not seeing any, and not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone line that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 403?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 403, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. So we will move to the neutral position. If there's anyone here that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 403, I invite you to the table. And not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas, BPS. Do we have anyone on the phone line?
If you would like to testify neutral on Assembly Bill 403, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. And I'll ask the presenters if you have any closing remarks.
Morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Sean O'Donnell for the record. I would like to thank the committee for considering AB 403. This is an important step in the right direction for recovery homes in the state of Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And members, with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 403. And knowing that the rules have been waived for work session, we will open the work session for Assembly Bill 403. And with that, I will accept a motion to move as amended.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move to do pass as amended Assembly Bill 403.
Thank you so much. I have a second. I have a motion from Assemblywoman Bacchus, a second from Assemblyman Watts. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries, and I will assign that floor statement to Assemblyman Miller. Moving on, we will open the hearing for Assembly Bill 429 and invite Assemblyman Gurr to the table. Assembly Bill 429 revises provisions relating to aviation. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Committee. For the record, my name is Bert Gurr. I'm an Assemblyman for Assembly District 33, basically the third part of Nevada, a third of Nevada, sorry, to talk on AB 429. AB 429 seeks an appropriation of $12 million to fund two separate but equally important things. A $10 million appropriation over the next biennium is requested for the Nevada Air Service Development Commission. The Commission provides funding to help support flights for essential air services to rural airports. A portion of the funds will be used for economic relief for the city of Elko, which provides revenue guarantee for the essential air service to Elko. A portion will be used to conduct a study to help the Commission develop and implement a strategic plan. In addition to the funding request, the bill also revises the Commission as defined in NRS 494, moving it from the Department of Tourism to the Governor's Office of Economic Development. It also lays out what industry, local government, and agencies are to be represented by the Commission. Part 2 is a $2 million appropriation that is requested over the biennium to supplement the Nevada Fund for Aviation with within the Nevada Department of Transportation. This fund helps smaller airports provide the match required to access grants from the Federal Aviation Administration's Airport Improvement Program. It's important to note that the FAA provides about 94 cents on the dollar, and the local airports are required to come up with the other 6 cents. Your $2 million appropriation of this fund translates into over $32 million for improvements to Nevada's predominantly rural airports and provides jobs and tax revenue. In 2022, NDOT released a study titled The Nevada Airport and Heliport System Plan and Executive Summary. The study showed aviation in Nevada supports 285,000 jobs statewide. Aviation generates $12.1 billion in labor and $40 billion in additional economic output. This does not include the impact of the military aviation or aeronautical activity not associated with an airport, i.e. aeronautical manufacturing or off-airport advanced air or unmanned aerial vehicle activity. We have a friendly amendment with us today, and I have Susan Fisher here to describe it.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, for a second time, Susan Fisher with McDonald-Carano speaking on behalf of Nevada Aviation Association. I want to point out quickly, I realize that this is not the policy committee, but the intent of the bill is to help provide air carrier service to remote areas within the state of Nevada. And nothing in this measure seeks to diminish the equal access to the National Plan of Integrated Airport Systems, or NIPIAS, airports for general aviation or other airport user groups. This amendment that we're presenting today, which you should have a copy of and is on Nellis, includes the definition of an NPIAS, NIPIAS airport. Public use airport is defined in the most recent version of the National Plan of the Integrated Airport Systems. published by the U.S. Secretary of Transportation. There are 49 public use airports in Nevada, but only 3 have commercial air service: Harry Reid International, Reno Tahoe, and Elko. The amendment language regarding small hub, large hub, etc. simply ensures that funds may be used to incentivize flights that begin or end at one of the large hub airports like Reno Tahoe or Harry Reid, but only if the flight plan includes flight to the other smaller airports such as Elko, Carson City, etc. And in Section 1.4 of the amendment, it specifically includes language to clarify that an air taxi operator is included in the definition of air carrier. And I want to thank LCB for catching that omission for us so we could include that. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So there's a $10 million general fund appropriation request in the bill with an additional general fund appropriation of $1 million each year of the biennium. So that was the first reason why the bill was brought to this committee. But in addition to that, there is the fiscal note from the Governor's Office of Economic Development that is a pretty significant fiscal note. So do you have anyone here to speak on that fiscal note today?
I believe somebody from GoEd is here to talk. Oh,
It's
right
coming
behind you.
up.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. James Hum, GoEd for the record. Happy to answer any questions on the fiscal note that you might have.
If you could go to just a little detail for the committee, the aspects in the fiscal note. And, it's a pretty large amount, and the department may or may not be able to absorb that, and that would have to come out of the general fund to help with this. So if you could explain a little more.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair. James Hum, GoEd for the record. Our thought process behind this was, as the air service person would then be embedded within our office, they would basically be administering $12 million worth of grant funding, as well as conducting the study, as well as setting up these meetings. So our thought was to have a person basically at a base funding of, sorry, I left my other notes over there, but 72,000 plus loaded plus travel to some of the rural airports to initially conduct this study and then get it off the ground. Again, as kind of you go through the bill, Section 1 creates the commission within GoEd, plus the meeting planning. Section 2 and 3 would be grant administration and program development, and Section 4 would be conducting the study and then again disseminating the grant funding. So as we kind of look at this, would be happy to take this all under consideration, as well as work with the bill sponsors to discuss more.
If I may, Madam Chair, may I make a quick correction there? He mentioned $12 million that they would be administering. GoEd would be administering Susan Fisher, for the record, would be administering $10 million. The other $2 million is under the Division of Aviation within NDOT. And that provides the direct match dollars to be able to access the FAA dollars. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And could you share with us, what is the traffic, the amount of people flying in? I've never flown into the rural, so just information for me, if nothing else.
At this point in time, Madam Chair, Bert Gurr, for the record, it's not as heavy as it used to be. And I think we have representatives from the city of Elko and from the airport who might address it. But when you go from 5 flights a day each direction down to 1, it's gone down. And that's because of the economics. Might I also add that this is putting the money back into the bill that was passed back in 2019? The bill passed. The money never got put into it. So this is just really seriously requesting the money to go back into the fund that was already established by law. Thank you.
You said the money never went into it, so there was enabling language that was passed in 19?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So the enabling language did not also come with the appropriations, just the enabling language. So there wasn't money taken out, there was just never money appropriated for it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to get that corrected. Okay. Members, any questions? Yes. Assemblywoman Bacchus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I couldn't remember this. I sat through the policy portion of this in revenue, but I couldn't remember. I remember this, the commission was originally set up in the Department of Tourism, and that it was coming out to go to GoEd. When this passed in 2019, I understand that the big dollar amounts sought to be appropriated were not appropriated, but do you recall whether or not general funds were appropriated to the Department of Tourism to house this commission, or if any money from the general fund was in fact set aside to pay for one of our other agencies to help with this commission?
Susan Fisher, for the record, to my knowledge, none was ever appropriated. Thank you. As was mentioned before, it was enabled in the legislation but not actually appropriated.
Thank you, members. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask you to take a seat back and we will open testimony in support of Assembly Bill 429.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. For the record, my name is Steve Walker. I'm representing Douglas and Lyon counties in full support of AB 429.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Jennifer Berthiaume, that's Berthiaume, Government Affairs Manager at the Nevada Association of Counties. On behalf of our members who represent all 17 of Nevada's counties, we're in support of AB 429. Provides an appropriation to support air service to our local communities. Air service is a vital element of economic development to rural Nevada and across the state, and we are in full support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Stephen Wood, for the record, representing the Nevada League of Cities and Municipalities. We are in full support of this. In fact, this is one of our priorities for this session, to get air service out to all regions of the state, including some of the members that you're about to hear of our organization testify in favor of it. So we're in full support, and thank the sponsor for his work on this, and appreciate your support as well.
Thank you.
Nick Ciccone, City of Reno, for the record. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I just want to say ditto to Stephen Wood's comments, and also say that we appreciate the inclusion of Reno State Airport in the list of eligible airports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the Committee on Ways and Means, once again, Leonardo Benavides, Government Affairs Manager for City of North Las Vegas, in support of AB 429, looking at the potential as well and how that could work with the North Las Vegas Airport in the future too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Assembly. Jim Foster with the Elko Regional Airport. To answer one of the questions about the numbers of people coming in, since 2019, we've lost about 50% of our enplanement numbers, which was right around 20,000 in 2019, and it's dropped down below 8,000. Well, it's 8,000 as of last year. Part of that that's part of our AIP funding as well, and so I'm here to provide the testimony in support of this.
Thank you so much for that additional information. Appreciate that. Go ahead.
Jan Baum, City of Elko. I also am in support of AB 429, and I want to mention that the one flight that City of Elko is maintaining, we are currently paying an MRG of approximately $1.4 million a year to maintain that flight, and it is a direct access to Salt Lake City, Utah, not to anywhere in Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, David Cherry, excuse me, with the City of Henderson, here in support of AB 429. We are proud members of the Nevada League of Cities and support our fellow cities in the League's priority bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Nick Schneider representing the Vegas Chamber, and we're in support of AB 429. I'd just like to echo the comments of my colleagues in regards to the benefits to rural tourism and economic development. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Lindsay Anderson on behalf of the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority. I just have 2 quick points to add. I definitely want to say that I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a smaller match from the state perspective or local perspective for federal dollars, and there's never been more money available at the federal level for airports than there is right now because of the bipartisan infrastructure law. And so these airports not having the 6% match they need available to access these federal dollars is really unfortunate. So this $2 million appropriation specifically to access those federal dollars, I think is particularly important. The second point I want to make is just the importance of economic development in terms of aviation. I made this sort of joke in the policy committee, but the future of aviation looks like the Jetsons, and we are going to be talking about air travel with Ubers and things like that. And so we want our airports to be prepared for the future of transportation, which does include a lot of smaller areas and smaller aircraft, and we want our airports to be in good working condition. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Mindy Elliott with Flynn Judici Government Affairs this morning, representing the Northern Nevada Development Authority as well as the City of Fernley. We'd like to thank the bill sponsor for bringing SB 429 for this committee for hearing this bill. We hope the bill takes off and has a soft landing. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Kanani Espinoza with the Rowe Law Group representing the American Council of Engineering Companies Nevada chapter. ACEC is the Engineering Association for Nevada, and we are in full support of AB 429. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Ken Moen. I am the president of the Nevada Aviation Association. A mile of road will take you 1 mile, but a mile of runway will take you anywhere in the world. In order to connect the state of Nevada, not just within the state, but also to other markets outside the state internationally, it's vital that we maintain and improve our airport and our airport systems. Assemblyman Gurr talked a lot about the hard numbers as far as employment, labor income, and the overall economic impact of daily operations. But when we leverage these federal grants in tune of this $2 million, we'll leverage over $33 million. That number also expands in sales tax base and other dollars that are spent by contractors purchasing supplies, labor, and for these projects. Aviation is a 21st century transportation solution. To access any part of the state, Nevada is the most mountainous state in the nation. And to be able to shrink distances and times, we need aviation to do that. Not only do they support tourism and economic development, but it also supports emergency medical evacuations, routine medical clinics and care. Physicians travel from Las Vegas or Reno to these rural markets to provide these clinics, and you don't have to build that infrastructure in that area in order to support that help. As you know, wildfire has also become a challenge for our state and our neighboring states, and wildland firefighting supports these capabilities through the rural airports. So I want to urge the committee to support this piece of legislation. You may look at it as an appropriation coming out of the fund, but what you will see back through this economic development is more monies returned back to the Treasury through state and sales taxes and other fees and services that these users provide back to the system, and also serve the community for further development. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Not seeing anyone else here in Carson City to provide testimony and support, we'll be going to Las Vegas.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Isaac Torre with Strategy 60, today representing Churchill County. We're in full support of AB 429. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone else in Las Vegas to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 429, we will move to opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in opposition? Seeing none. Not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on the phone line that would like to provide testimony on Assembly Bill 429?
If you would like to provide testimony on Assembly Bill 429, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. With that, we will move to the neutral position. Is there anyone here that would like to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 429? Seeing none, not seeing anyone in Las Vegas and BPS, I am assuming we still have no one joining us on the phone line to provide neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 429.
Yes, Chair, that is correct.
Thank you so much. Assemblyman Gurr, if you could come back to the table. I think we may have a question or two from you for some of our members, just some of the terms that were used, just to clarify what those are. Assemblywoman Peters?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in some of the testimony, there were a couple of acronyms used that I was not familiar with, AIP and MRG. Can you explain those?
I'm going to have to ask Ken, since he's the one with the...
I'll be your wingman.
Okay. Thank you.
Minimum Revenue Guarantee, MRG, and then AIP is the Federal Program, Airport Improvement Program. You bet.
See, that was an easy answer for me.
Thank you both for coming back to the table for that. Did you have any closing comments, Assemblyman Gurr?
Madam Chair, Assemblyman Gurr, for the record, just thank the committee.
Thank you, members. Although the rules have been waived for work session, we all know that we cannot pass any budget or any bills that impact a fiscal note of the state budget for the next fiscal year until our budget bills, especially our education bill, gets out of this House, the Senate, and over to the governor. So that bill will have to go into like a holding pattern until that happens, along with many other bills that will impact the FY 24-25 things. So hopefully we get our budget bills passed and we can pass some of your members' bills. So with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 429 and we will move on to Assembly Bill 443. Thank you. Good morning, Assemblywoman Hodege. You can get started. Assembly Bill 444 expands the institutions which certain recipients of the Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarships are authorized to attend.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Assemblywoman Sandra Haudege for the record. Again, going to skip the policy since I believe almost half of you have already heard the policy for this bill in Commerce and Labor. But yes, Assembly Bill 443 does expand the institutions in which students can use their already earned Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship to just a handful of schools that are nursing schools so that we can expand the number of students who can attend nursing school and home grow our nurses and start tackling the nurse shortage that exists in our state. I have some great news. There was some fiscal notes that had been requested, some fiscal notes that had been submitted, 0 from the Treasurer's Office, and there was an undetermined fiscal note by the Nevada System of Higher Education, and they have come to a determination that there will be 0 fiscal impact. We do have the Nevada System of Higher Education here, if you need to confirm that, Chair, and so 0 fiscal dollars today.
And if they could join you for that confirmation, that would be wonderful.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair. For the record, Andrew Klinger, Chief Financial Officer for the Nevada System of Higher Education. Read through the fiscal note this morning, and I understand the logic of it, but it would be very difficult to sort of track students that would have otherwise attended an NCHE institution who are now attending a private institution. So I notified the Assemblywoman this morning that I am happy to withdraw the fiscal note.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for that. And if both of you would just take a seat back. Well, members, did you have any questions for them before they take a seat back? No? Yes? Okay, take a seat back. If there's anyone here that would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 443, I invite you to the table. Not seeing any, not seeing anyone in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone join us on the phone line?
If you would like to testify on Assembly Bill 443, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 443? Not seeing anyone here in Carson City or in Las Vegas provide testimony in opposition. BPS, do we have anyone on the phone lines joining us at this time?
If you would like to testify in opposition on Assembly Bill 443, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you so much. We'll ask the presenter if she has any closing remarks. We'll ask the presenter if she has any closing remarks. Okay. Seeing none, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 443. All right. And with that, we will go to the last bill on our agenda for today, for at least this agenda for today. There may be more. And that's Assembly Bill 448, which revises provisions governing the real property transfer tax. And invite back Speaker Yeager.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9 in Southwest Las Vegas. It's an honor to present Assembly Bill 448. This came out of the Revenue Committee, and it involves the real property transfer tax. I'll just tell you very briefly what it does. Every time there is property transferred in the state, there is a tax that's collected. And the important thing to know about that tax is it is distributed to local governments, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, for instance, school districts for capital construction in some counties, and then some of that to the state general fund. So this is a tax that is on the books. And what I learned over the last couple of years is that there were some very creative ways, and I will say legal ways, but creative ways where entities could get out of paying real property transfer tax. And I'll tell you about that in a second, but just to give you an idea of the magnitude of what we're talking about, on the Las Vegas Strip since the year 2007, there have been $27.5 billion in sales of property, and that represents 24 different sales. So we're talking about an average of almost $1 billion in transfer. A $4 billion sale would generate $21 million in transfer tax. So essentially this is what happens. Sometimes a very large and sophisticated entity wanting to sell real property will create a holding company and place that property into the holding company. And then the acquiring entity will simply purchase the holding company. So there's no real transfer of the property from buyer to seller. And so there is a loophole in the law right now. And when you look at the bill, you will note there in the very first page in Section 1, that essentially is the loophole, that if you are simply transferring property between an entity and its parent or subsidiary, of course that's not intended to be captured. But when you get creative, and again, I will say in a completely legal way, when you get creative on the accounting and the legal side, you have a way to avoid this transfer tax. And so what this bill seeks to do is to say very clearly that if you're doing that, meaning transferring your property or creating a holding company, you're transferring your property within your own business structure. If you're doing that for the purpose of avoiding transfer tax, you still have to pay the transfer tax. And so this is an attempt to fill a loophole. I'm not going to pretend for a moment that this is the perfect solution. It's not. These things are tricky. But I think it will give local governments with some guidance from the Department of Taxation through the regulatory process. It'll give local governments an opportunity to take a second look at some of these transactions and make a determination whether real property transfer tax should be paid. And I think as a state, we should want that to happen because these go to really good programs, and every dollar that gets taken out of those programs that should go there is something we, as a legislature, have to deal with through our general fund. And just to give you an idea, I don't want to imply that everybody is doing this. Some entities are and some are not, but just a couple I want to highlight that have done this the right way. The Fontainebleau property that's been in the news a lot, that was a $600 million sale. That generated $3 million in real property transfer tax. And then Allegiant Stadium, when the Raiders purchased that land upon which Allegiant Stadium was built, that was a $177.5 million transaction. That generated $395,000 in real property transfer tax, which helped the county, the Affordable Housing Fund, and the state. So that is what the bill does. In terms of the fiscal note, there's a couple fiscal notes. One is from local government, and by and large, well, I think all the local governments have said zero, because really this should, if anything, increase the revenue, but not surprisingly, they indicated they really don't have a sense of how often this is happening. So they weren't able to sort of quantify, maybe what the revenue coming in would be. And then I think the real fiscal note that we're here for is from the Department of Taxation, because it would be up to the Department of Taxation through the regulatory process to promulgate regulations giving guidance to, county clerks, county recorders, about how to administer this. And so the fiscal note has a cost in the future biennia of $38,125, and that's a cost increase for their utilization of the Attorney General's office, who I believe would help through that regulatory process. Chair, I would love to tell you I've had a conversation with the Department of Taxation about this. I have not. So all I have is what's in front of me, and I'm hoping that somebody is here to be able to address that, or if not, I will try to get in touch with them offline. I just simply ran out of time to have that conversation before this morning's hearing.
Thank you so much. Members, do you have any questions for the presenter? So you said you may have a few phone or friends in the audience from taxation and perhaps the AG's office in developing regulations. If both could come up, that would be great. Good morning.
Good morning, members of the committee. Joy Grimmer, Department of Taxation, ASO 4. As Assemblyman Yeager said, the department does anticipate that we'll have to draft regulations to provide guidance to the county recorders, which will require us to have the assistance of the Attorney General's office. The fiscal note anticipates that our cost allocation would go up in future biennia, typically because it's billed on the previous 2 years.
I was going to ask you that, and you just answered it. Thank you so much. And do you anticipate, or can you guesstimate, that this would bring in additional revenue and what that might be?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jeff Mitchell for the record with the Department of Taxation. I do believe it would bring in additional revenue because we would be capturing the real property transfer tax on these large transfers. What that is, I unfortunately do not have a number.
I thought the phone or friend might have an idea. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Members, any questions for any of the presenters? All right. Well, thank you so much for stepping in and being a phone a friend, and thank you, Speaker Yeager. We'll invite anyone to the table that would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 448.
Good morning again, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Christine Hess, and I am with the Nevada Housing Coalition. I did just send a letter that I provided to the Revenue Committee on April 13th, but I did want to share, this is a very strong our strong support. This is a high priority for the Nevada Housing Coalition. I want to thank the Speaker and Majority Leader for bringing this forward. The annual real property transfer tax collected and utilized for affordable housing varies, but the past 5 years it's ranged from roughly $6 to $10 million. Every year, these funds are exhausted as the Housing Division funds the gap for affordable housing projects. Based on the reporting by the Las Vegas Review-Journal this past summer, and the amount of RPTT that was not collected from the large gaming deals, it's estimated that there could have been an additional $23 to $25 million for affordable housing in our state. Every $3 million leverages about $60 million, which means that we could have left more than $400 million on the table. How many affordable homes did not get built? So we are in strong support of this bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Bill Brewer, Nevada Rural Housing Authority. We're here in strong support of this bill, which closes a loophole that is vital to the funding of affordable housing in Nevada. Thank you.
Nick Ciccone, City of Reno for the record. Thank you, Madam Chair. Ditto.
Ariel Edwards with Nevada Hand. We would like to echo the comments from the Nevada Housing Coalition, and we are in support of this bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. For the record, Mindy Elliott with Flynn Judici Government Affairs, representing the Reno Housing Authority and the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Ditto.
Good morning, Leonardo Benavides, City of North Las Vegas. For all the reasons mentioned, ditto.
Morning, Madam Chair. David Chair again for the City of Henderson, and we also are ditto support for this bill. Thank you.
Thank you all. Not seeing anyone else coming to the table here in Carson City, and not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone joining us on the phone line that would like to provide testimony on Assembly Bill 448?
Chair, the public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
Thank you so much. Coming back to Carson City, do we have anyone that would like to provide testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 448? Not seeing any, and not seeing anyone at our table in Las Vegas. BPS, do we have anyone on our phone lines at all?
Chair, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you so much. So coming back to Carson City, is there anyone here that would like to provide neutral testimony for Assembly Bill 448? Not seeing any, and not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas, and knowing that we do not have anyone on our phone lines, we can close the hearing on Assembly Bill 448. Thank you, members, and knowing that the rules have been waived, we will open the work session for Assembly Bill 448, and I will accept a motion to do pass. Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you so much. I just want to express as the Chair of Health and Human Services, hearing about the disparities in local shares to support community-based services and that are essential for supporting our communities. Any help with funding to support those programs is appreciated and goes really far in making sure that we're making the dollars in our state go to as many families as possible. So with that statement, I would like to make the motion to do pass this bill.
And with that, we will accept your motion. Do we have a second on the motion? Second. We have a first from Assemblywoman Peters, a second from Assemblywoman Hadeghi. Any discussion on the motion? Assemblywoman Dickman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just basically have a little bit of a problem with the transfer tax, but as long as we have it, I think everyone should pay it fairly, so I guess I'll be voting for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I will assign the floor statement to Assemblywoman Peters. Thank you, members. That completes this morning's agenda. We will be coming back later today at the call of the chair, and so we will not adjourn, but we will be in recess.